Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Once someone asked Bawa, how do you know when your wisdom is speaking, and how do you know when your regular mind is speaking to you? How can you tell the difference? And his answer was that when wisdom comes from you, when you are asked a question, you immediately know the answer. When you are not in a state of wisdom, you conjecture as to the answer, and you almost negotiate with yourself as to the answer. And at the time he said that, I'm not sure I actually understood what he meant, but over the years, I've understood better what he was trying to say. And what he was saying is that wisdom is understanding reality. Wisdom is being in reality. Wisdom is communing with reality. And if you are in reality, then answers are obvious. But if you are in illusion, answers are not obvious. Part of the problem with illusion is that whenever you are faced with a situation and you are in the state of illusion, there is this constant intermingling of self-motive with the situation that's presented. So as opposed to being able to respond to a situation as it's presented, the following takes place inside of you. And that is essentially, how does it benefit me? What can I get out of it? How can I phrase this in such a way that there is an advantage for me? There's a story of a man who was in the midst of a huge dilemma. And he prayed that this dilemma would be resolved for him. And he promised that if the dilemma was resolved, he would sell his house and give all the money to charity. Well, a short period of time went by and the dilemma was resolved. And now it was time for him to sell his house. Well, he didn't want to sell his house and give this huge amount of money away. So he devised a tactic. He said, I'm going to sell the house for 1 silver coin. But with the house comes a cat, and the cat is 10,000 golden coins. So if you want to buy the house, you have to buy the house and the cat. So he sold his house and the cat. He kept the 10,000 golden coins and he gave the 1 silver coin to charity. And this is the way of self-interest. This is the way that people who are not in reality react to the world. Now, it's hard for us to face reality. It's hard for man to drop all of his illusory baggage and turn towards reality. It's a difficult thing to do. And one of the reasons that men and women run to find a sheikh, to find someone who lives in reality, is so that they can get relief from illusion, so that for a period of time they can be relieved of all of the conflict that comes with illusion. Now, in reality, things are different than in illusion. In illusion, we are constantly driven by desire, and we are constantly in the midst of change. Well, desire doesn't like change. Desire wants specific answers for specific needs, and it wants them to come all the time. But with the constant change of things, with the constant change of circumstances, with the constant new dramas and new scenarios, desire can't be fulfilled. There's always something new that has come into the picture. There's always something different that has altered the previous situation. And as long as we are within illusion, we see all of these changes and all of these differences as a reality for us. It's only when we leave the state of illusion and enter into understanding reality that we can begin to ignore all of the constant changes within the world, all of the constant changes as to our desire, all of the constant changes as to our needs, all of the constant changes as to our wants, and our total inability to satisfy all of them all of the time. So when we see a man who is in a stationary place and who is at peace, no matter what the circumstances surrounding him are, no matter how the world of illusion is swirling around him, he is at peace in the middle of it. We yearn to be in that location. We yearn to have that understanding. We yearn to know that which he knows. And one of the qualities of a sheikh is that he is able to transfer to those near him his own qualities. He is able to grant what he has to others. This is his purpose. This is his reason for being. He is here to help humanity in the same way that the prophets came as an aid to humanity, in the same way that the holy books were sent as an aid to humanity. The sheikhs and the ketubs are sent as aids to humanity, to allow people to find peace. Because until we find peace, there will not be any kind of resolution to our state of desire. Until we find peace, there will be no resolution to the constant drama that the mind creates. Until we find peace, there will be no resolution to our interaction with illusion. To understand this, we need to understand that Salam is one of the names of Allah. Peace is a godly quality. So in finding peace, we are making a transition. We are making a transition from worldly understandings, from illusory understandings, from understandings where there's constant change, to eternal understandings, to things that are beyond change. And true peace from our Lord is a station that is beyond change. When in Turkish, there is a word, it's called sohbet. And sohbet describes the speech of someone in a state where they are not thinking, where the words come without being affected by self-motive, where the words come directly without filter and are passed through the assemblage without the filter of self-motive. This is a very powerful situation because most always when we are involved in speech with each other, the filter of self-motive is constantly in effect and is constantly having influence on what is said. So to be in a space and time when unfiltered speech is coming through, it actually means that what's coming through is not from the individual who's speaking, but from that place where truth exists. And if we can, while this is going on, attune to that speech and be without criticism, be without self-motive upon hearing that speech, then we can enter into that space that is not tainted by self-motive. So when we sat with the Sheikh and when we let go of ourselves, when we let go of our critical inclination, when we let go of our judgmental inclination, when we could just sit still and listen, then what would come to us and what would envelop us was true, direct, unmotivated speech that came from truth, that came from wisdom. And if we allow that to enter ourselves, then we could find a time of respite. We could find a time when we would be free from the drama of existence. We would be free from the constant need to somehow cure the desires that were coming up in us. We could be content. We could be peaceful. We could enter into states that are more than human, that are from the divine, states that are not in need. And to enter into a state that is not in need is an elevated place. It's a transcendent place because we are constantly in need. We are constantly in a state where we need more, where we need something, where we feel unfulfilled. So to bring ourselves to a state of being fulfilled, to bring ourselves to a state where we are in gratitude, where we are without overwhelming desire that keeps us from being still and keeps us from being peaceful is a great gift. And this is one of the gifts that the Sheikh gives. He gives you the gift of understanding gratitude. He gives you the gift of understanding peacefulness. He gives you the time that you can be without desire, the time that you are without the push and pull of this illusory world, that you are not involved in the constant need for something new or a different experience. In the world, because we are always, if we live in illusion, in need, we are constantly looking for something to ease our mind, to ease our being. So what happens? People are constantly turning towards entertainment. And why is the entertainment industry so big in the Western world? Because people are willing to pay exorbitant amounts of money in order to be relieved of what goes on in their mind. So they're saying to the entertainment industry, take my mind and replace it with something else. Give me something else to tune into. Give me something else to look at. Give me something else to become affixed to. Give me something that will take away my constant attention to the drama and the difficulties of my own life. Give me something that will relieve me. So what happens? We go to concerts, we go to movies, we listen to pop music, we watch television. And all of these things are distractions from the truth. All of these things are distractions from wisdom. There's not a lot of difference between the entertainment industry and drugs. They accomplish the same thing. They create a space inside of you that mollifies you, that makes you more comfortable in your situation for a period of time. It's like putting fuel into an airplane. An airplane can then fly, but eventually it runs out of fuel and has to come back down. Drugs will take you for a certain period of time and keep you in a certain state, and then you come back down. Alcohol will inebriate you for a period of time, but then you return. Entertainment will keep you affixed for a period of time, but then you have to come back down. So when we're back down, we have to realize that it is now that we have the opportunity to turn to reality. Because when we are being entertained, when our mind is taken away from us, when our attention is taken away from us, when our attention is usurped through the torpor of drugs and alcohol, we can't do these things. So when we are clear for a period of time, this is the time that we have to concentrate and we have to pay attention to, and we have to try and figure out what is real and what is our connection to that reality. And the same way that the Sheikh can tell you the truth because of his concentration and his state, in that same way, if each of us can become quiet enough, still enough, removed from the distractions of existence, removed from all of the self-motive that is within us, removed from the constant need to fulfill mindful desire, we can find a place of quiet within ourselves where peace exists and where truth will enter us. To do this, we have to set an intention that we wish for truth to enter us, that we wish for truth to come into us. Now, we as individuals worship our intentions. So we have to be very clear as to what our intentions are and how we phrase our intentions, how we set forth our intentions, how we put together our intentions. So if we want to know truth, we have to intend the knowledge of truth. Now, all knowledge exists. All knowledge is around us. Many think that knowledge is found through books. Others know that there's more to it than just that. When I first met my sheikh, he told me, stop reading books. Not even my books. You have me now. I am sufficient for all that you need to know. Now, there's the story of the man who was trying to teach a parrot to talk, and the parrot wouldn't pay any attention to him. So he put a mirror in front of the parrot and spoke to the parrot from behind the mirror. And the parrot, seeing itself, thought he was talking to another parrot, began to imitate what he saw, and the man was able to teach the parrot to talk. Well, the sheikh has been placed before us as a manifestation that looks like us. But through him came reality. Now, whether he is there or not, reality is there. So each of us has to believe that within us, there is a space that can contact reality and be in touch with reality. Some people call this meditation. Others call it intense concentration. But intense concentration on segregating what's real and what's not real, separating what's real and what's not real, and not allowing that which is not real to have a hold on us and an influence on us and a distraction on us. So we need to become clear. There are major problems in becoming clear of self-motive. And one of these is what Bawa would call the sin of separation. The fact that we categorize ourselves as different from every other self, that we categorize ourselves as different based on physical manifested characteristics, like our color, like our race, like our language, like our religion. And we hold these things as being critical as to who we are and what we are. Now, in order to become clear, we have to do away with all of these things. we have to become clear of those influences that separate us. We have to come clear of the influences that make distinctions between ourselves and others. We have to understand that there is a unity in existence between all mankind, and that unity includes everyone around us and ourselves. There was a custom among the prophet that he would always have a very poor man with him when he ate. And this went back to the time of Abraham, who always ate with poor people in attendance. And a time came when there were no poor people in attendance for him. And he thought that God had somehow been offended by him because he didn't send poor people to his tent. And then a few days went by, and a poor man came to his tent. And Abraham began to speak to the poor man. And he said, "And what is it that you believe?" And he said, "I am a fire worshiper." And Abraham said, "You need to believe in the one God and in the unity of creation. Go, and when you can begin to understand that, come back and you can sit at my table." The man left, and Allah came to Abraham and said, "He may not believe in the way that you believe, but don't I give him air? Don't I give him water? Don't I give him life and sustenance? Who are you to choose who to give when I gave freely?" And Abraham was told to find him and to feed him, which in fact he did. We need to be able to stop making distinctions that have to do with differences that we comprehend. These differences that we comprehend are differences from the illusory world. They are differences that we create in our own imagination. They're not reality. We have to enter into reality. During the time of Ramadan, which is now, one of the things that many people do is they try and read the entire Quran during the time of Ramadan. It's actually not such a difficult thing. If you read about 20 pages a day, you can easily finish the Quran over the course of Ramadan. And you can even break that up into 10 pages in the morning and 10 pages in the evening, and it becomes easier. But one of the strongest messages that the Quran gives, and it gives it over and over and over, is the message of monotheism. The fact that God is one and has no partners, and you cannot give partners to God. The constant reutterance of the unity of existence, and that unity of existence is within Allah. There is only one God, and God has no partners. He has no equals. He has nothing that is unto him. He is unique and alone, without beginning, without end, and beyond our comprehension, and also beyond form. So understanding that that which is at the core of the unity of existence is beyond form, we need to understand that we have to stop making distinctions because of form if we are going to enter into a unity with existence. Notice that all distinctions that we make are about form. He looks different than me. He believes things that are different than me. He prays with a different style than I pray. He bows differently than I do. All of these form distinctions. He goes to a different looking temple than I go to. His temple has different names than mine has. The distinctions of form have to be done away with. And to find a place of peace within us, we have to relieve ourselves of these distinctions of form, these separations that keep us from unity. So if we are going to find internal peace, we are going to have to enter into unity. If we are going to find wisdom, we are going to have to enter into unity. If we're going to find reality, we are going to have to enter into unity, because unity is reality. Anything other than unity is not reality. So anything that we believe in that doesn't have a unified shape to it, that doesn't have a unified understanding to it, that contains separations within it, is not taking us to that place that is real. And as long as we have self-motive, as long as we hold on to ourselves as more important than everything else and everybody else, we are creating separations. And this is the most difficult thing for man to let go of. He can't let go of himself. And somehow, in order to find truth, we have to let go of ourselves. And Ramadan is a teacher in letting go of ourselves. It teaches us to let go of things. Let go of your normal habits. Let go of eating in the daytime. Only eat in the nighttime. Let go of the normal way that you do things. Understand that the way you do things is not reality. Reality is beyond our habits. Reality is beyond the way we do things. Reality is at a place that is presently beyond our comprehension. And to allow it to enter into our comprehension, we have to give up everything that separates us from understanding that. And that is almost every one of our ideas, every one of our thought patterns, every one of our habits, and the way that we do things. So this is a time to make a break from the habitual nature of ourselves, to make a break from ourselves, to enter into a unity with our Creator, and to intend that unity with our Creator. So it all begins with an intention and the willingness to surrender ignorance. When it is said that we must surrender, what is it that gets surrendered? Our ignorance is what gets surrendered. Our belief system in that which isn't real is what gets surrendered. So we need to surrender everything that we hold on to that's not real and enter into a state of unity with our Creator. And it all comes down to La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. I do not exist. Only Allah exists. Only the Lord exists. And I am peaceful and content in that understanding. And I am fulfilled in that knowledge. May we all be taken to the place where we know reality, where we know our connection to our Lord, and where we know the truth of existence. May it all be shown to us, and may we all be brought into His qualities and His grace. Ameen, Ameen. Ya Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.